All right, this is the 2019 Tour de Grandview. It's a race that happens every year in Ohio. It's a great race. Gets a great crowd, and it's kind of a Midwest cycling staple. Real fast, four-corner crit, happens in the evening, and it's my first race back ever since I crashed in Spartanburg in April. Got a couple weeks back on training on the bike, and ready to get back out there and dust off some cobwebs in a core crit that's really similar to the race that I crashed in. You can see I'm kind of tentative in these corners, touching the brakes a lot. You'll kind of see that all the way throughout the race. Of course, I didn't recon the course because I like to, fly by the seat of my pants. Let's make it up as we go. So I'm talking to Chris here. He's like, yeah, it's a four-corner crit. And you can see the field. I'm at the back, which is not optimal, and then here get caught behind a crash. I think everyone likes to panic in these moments because there's already splits happening in the field now that a crash happened. The key is not to panic. Yeah, just chill out. Find some dudes you can sit behind for a couple laps or a half lap, and just monitor and make sure that field doesn't get too far away. I just tuck right in here. Everyone's fresh. You're a half lap in, so this thing's going to come back together. You're probably going to get caught up. Of course, my teammates are at the front of the race attacking constantly, and I get caught behind a couple guys taking that bottom corner pretty dang slow. You see we're coming out there 23 miles an hour. So I was getting tired of this. I saw the group going up the road, and that's when you need to act. Whenever you're starting to really lose ground in the chase, you just got to jump across and go with everything, because if you hold up and you're pacing yourself for later on in the race, you're not going to freaking get there, and then your race is over 3 laps in. So yeah, you got to bridge hard. That's kind of the story of this race. When you're bridging, it doesn't matter what power you're doing. Just get across that. Brake, and you see here in one straightaway, pretty much closed down the gap. I probably could have closed down the gap in that corner if I wasn't such a big sissy, but that's life after you crash. You gotta work your way back up, I guess. The field's pretty strung out. I can already see a couple attacks going. I got teammates that started in the front, and we like to break things up into a breakaway, so I want to get in that breakaway, so I'm still going to be moving up through the field, which it is here. Most people will tell you that you need to wait until the pack bunches up when you need to move up, but that's usually after the break's gone, so I don't want to miss that. So I'm just going to go up to the right side of the field here while everyone's strung out at 31 miles an hour, because I guess I got watts to burn. We're just going to do it live here, folks. This is how I race. If you draft, it's basically cheating in my mind. So yeah, you can see there's actually a break up the road. It's got about 5-10 seconds, but the race has been hard here for about 10-15 minutes. And as soon as I see these riders on the left here, they start to fan out. I see 1, 2, 3 riders swinging, pulling off, looking around. Boom, I'm going to jump across, and you do that with a big old sprint. You cannot bridge across to a move that has 2 of your teammates in it with dragging some more people along. So I'm going to go across alone, so you can see no one's in my draft, because I'm going to go full blast here. I'm not going to drag anyone up. And once again, whenever you're bridging, it doesn't matter what power you're doing. You got to get up there as fast as possible, because if it takes you more than a lap, then you're not going to make it. You might as well go back to the field. See, I made some pretty good inroads there in that little bit. I'm looking back. Paul, my teammate, looks back, sees me, gets me a little bit, swings back in, gives me a little bit more time to get up there. And we got Paul and Ben up there, and a couple other teams represented as well, single riders from each team. So I'm ready to drive this thing. We were joking before the race, and I think the number was that we wanted 75% of the breakaway before we really committed. And as I swing off of my pole here, I know that we have 3 and 5, and then I look to my left and I see Ryan, and that makes us 4 and 6. And I figure, 66%, you round up, is pretty close to 75. So we're going to go ahead and roll this thing. We got 4 and 6 dudes. So really, we're sitting in a dominant position here, and we're going to, we drove this move for at least 10 to 15 minutes. You can see that the riders that we were with, they started to kind of play some games a little bit. Ben has to kind of race this guy a little bit for the preem that they threw out. I think it was like 50 or $100, and he actually just goes for a little jump there. Eli pulled off to the left And I'm sitting in this position thinking, I don't really want to chase Ben down. If we break up this move a little bit, that probably isn't the worst thing in the world. Early guarantee us a victory, but also we don't necessarily need to, right? We have 4 and 6, so we can wait a little bit later until we really start to attack. But I'm not going to close down the gap to Ben. The riders that we've been working with have been working a lot less than we have, which is understandable. So I want to make them do a little bit of work. So you see this guy, headwind cycling guy, jumps on the inside, and now I start to chase him down because now that he's in the wind, I want him to be burning a little bit more energy. And also, if he gets up to Ben and we're not there, our odds went from 4 and 6 to 1 and 2, and that's less. That's worse than what we had originally. So yeah, go ahead and roll through here, and we're going to keep driving the pace. As this rider pulls off here, this is probably about another 10 minutes later. It's been a little bit, and you can see watch here as Ryan pulls off his move. The rider two behind him slid immediately over, did not follow Ben as he went through for his pull. Ben looks and notices that, and I just jump across. As soon as I realize that the guy to my left kind of boxed himself in by rolling up alongside the curb to my left, jump across hard, another bridge to Ben, and I immediately roll through. I have some more speed, so I'm going to go ahead and take that into the corner and drive it. I do a quick look back here, and we got a good gap, so we're just going to really drive this thing, because if we get me and Ben up the road, obviously that's a great situation, especially since Ben, was on some form during this time and is still flying. So this clip actually picks up about maybe another 10-15 minutes later. We ended up lapping the field, who had not sat up but was going significantly slower. So you heard me talking to Jack and Chris, letting them know the situation on the road, that we had just lapped, but there's Paul and Ryan were in a group behind, but we need to go to the front and drive this thing as we are now, to make sure that no one else gets away. You see these riders go ahead and jump us for a preem, and I'm just going to go ahead and let them race for the preem, whatever, but we're going to go ahead and keep this pace high. We have 4 guys on the front. I'm not really worried about them getting away. I figure they're going to sit up here. So later on this lap, you see Chris coming through. There's 1 rider in the preem. There's 2 riders actually off the front, trying to do a little bit of racing, I guess, for this is a top 7 position, top 8. And he pulls them back in these corners, riding really well. And we had been making the pace pretty hard there, and I was actually still kind of worried that these people were going to lap up behind us. And so I just go ahead and counter, because if you're going to go ahead and attack our train, then I'm just going to counterattack you and leave you guys behind. And trying to get some exercise in, I guess, ride some more time in the wind, see what happens. I look back, there's no one really on my wheel. I did another successful counterattack there, and really am driving at this point pretty much solo all the way to the rest of the race. Entered in TT mode, and that's pretty much it. I think the main thing of whenever you're off the front of the race by yourself, a lot of people think about looking at their power meter, which is a decent way to pace yourself. But I think really you need to be thinking about, how can I keep the most speed up throughout the course the entire time. This course, actually, the straight that I'm entering in here on the left is a slight uphill, and so I was basically sprinting up the backside of this course, as you can see, when my power number is in the 500-600s, coming up that little rise, and then settles in around the mid to high 400s, to keep speed up in this section, because you don't want to be going 25 at threshold. You want to be going over threshold in the slow parts, and then on the back straight, which is on the home stretch, which is a slight downhill, you can see my power drops much lower because I'm recovering. You can't just pedal at 600 watts the whole time, obviously. It's all about keeping speed. When you're going 31 miles an hour, you don't need to be doing more power. You just need to be getting aero and low and being efficient off the front by yourself. So I spent another 20 minutes off the front by myself. The field pretty much let me go because I decided I was being greedy. This is the last lap. This is a pretty good feeling when you're riding by yourself and looking back, and you can just pretty much coast and stretch the whole home straight.
Take
I was enjoying myself there, and yeah, give the crowd some high fives. You gotta enjoy the first win back after injury. If you like this, more crit videos coming up soon. Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, I guess, and yeah, see you next time.